So let's take a look outside ourselves. Of course, I'm gonna have conservatives here, Republicans, maybe some Democrats, some liberals, progressives, people who don't care about politics at all. They just watch my channel because they know I'm not a liar and they hate the news and they hate politics. Thank you all for being here across the world. Welcome to the show. Outside of our politics, outside of our race and our social issues and whatever we care about, let's look at the United States of America as a country, okay? But not through our eyes, not through the eyes of the Black Lives Matter protester, not through the eyes of the conservative who's mad at them, not through the eyes of Trump, not through the eyes of Obama, not through the eyes of Hillary. Let's look today through the eyes of what I would say are enemies, and I'm not even going to call them enemies. Let's just say other countries that are competing with us. Many of them. China, Russia, you could name dozens. Some people think are allies. Saudi Arabia, Israel. Some people think they're not good allies. Some people think they are. Whoever it is, say in the global scale of competition, look at other people, especially the people who we actively fight against and do trade deals against. What would they want? If they want to become the superpower of the world, they wouldn't want us to have borders. This was a conversation that was had in, liberal circles for the last 3 years. They've went from Barack Obama, who, I don't know if you guys know about Barack Obama, him, Chuck Schumer, all the Democrats, they used to say we need to build bigger fences, we need to build a wall. They said, let's deport people. Now all of a sudden they're saying no border, weaker security, we don't need this, disband ICE. At the end of the day, if you look at Syria, you look at Libya, you need to tighten your borders. Race aside, that's just a modern day security system for your country. So if you don't have borders, outside of us, outside of the activists, who likes that? Your enemy is going to like the fact that you don't have borders and don't have security. Let's look at the military. I'm not a big fan of overseas regime change and, the United States overstepping their boundaries. I actually think we're doing way too much. However, I'm not the type of person to say just completely defund or really slash the military budget. I know it's huge, but once again, outside of my views and your views, who would want us to slash the military budget? Who would want a weak military? Our enemies, the people we fight against. Why would they want us to have a strong military? And it's the same with the police force. If it's this easy, and this is something I see tricking conservatives too. They're like, oh, that old man, I feel so bad for him. And that's great. I feel bad for him too. However, if you make it this easy, guys, if it's that easy that you could just film a video and somebody falls down and you could fire cops and get Minneapolis to disband the police, guys, our enemies are going to have a field day with us, and that is how easy it is. Me personally, I don't even go out to the streets like that. I'm getting 8 million views a week. I know how to get 100 million views a week. I'm not saying I want to or I want to go, but it's easy to frame something. You go to a protest, you find something crazy, it goes viral. I'm not saying it's super, super easy, but pretty much if you know the formula of what's going on, you could either find a real event and milk it, or you could stage an event pretty easily now. I mean, that's how social media works. So if you don't understand that our enemies and the people that don't like America and would want to see us destroyed and ruined in a third world country and possibly enslaved, if you don't understand that their agenda links pretty much with the Democratic Party's platform now and a lot of liberal progressives, no border, weakened or no police, no ICE, who does a lot of human trafficking stuff. I'm talking about no, weakened military. Guys, this is the dream of our enemies. And if you don't believe me, let's listen to 2 minutes of this real quick, and I'm going to get into more destabilization tactics. This is Yuri Bezmenov. He was a KGB agent, and he defected to the United States because he thought what they were doing was sick. And he told his story. He told it on CBS. He told it on multiple ones. Here's a long-form conversation he had explaining why the KGB, when they were trying to destroy the United States, they don't mess with leftists. They try to infiltrate conservative circles to turn them into that. And it's very common sense why, outside of your own beliefs. Listen.
I was doing in New Delhi. To my horror, I discovered that in the files where people were doomed to execution, there were names of pro-Soviet journalists with whom I was personally friendly.
Pro-Soviet?
Yes. They were idealistically minded leftists who made several visits to USSR, and yet the KGB decided that come revolution or drastic changes in political structure of India, they will have to go.
Why is that?
Because they know too much. Simply because, you see, the useful idiots, the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system, When they get disillusioned, they become the worst enemies. That's why my KGB instructors specifically made the point, never bother with leftists. Forget about these political prostitutes. Aim higher. This was my instruction. Try to get into large circulation, established conservative media. Rich, filthy rich movie makers, intellectuals, so-called academic circles. Cynical, egocentric people who can look into your eyes with angelic expression and tell you a lie. These are the most recruitable people, people who lack moral principles, who are either too greedy or too suffer from self-importance. They feel that they matter a lot. These are the people who KGB wanted very much to recruit.
But to eliminate the others, to execute the others, don't they serve some purpose? Wouldn't they be the ones we rely on?
They serve purpose only at the stage of destabilization of a nation. For example, your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize a nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The moment they serve their purpose, all the useful idiots are either be executed entirely, all the idealistically minded Marxists, or exiled or put in prisons, like in Cuba. Many former Marxists are in Cuba. In prison.
It's a great video. Look up Yuri Bezmenov and you'll be able to find it. Y-U-R-I Bezmenov. You'll figure it out. So he explained this was this was decades ago. I don't know when this video was, probably the 70s or 80s or 90s max, but he was explaining, we don't mess with leftists. Our propaganda, we're trying to get into conservative circles and turn them into leftists because for another country, for Russia, for China, any of our enemies, Iran, whoever you want to believe is our enemy, they don't want us to have a border. Why would they want us to have a border? They don't want us to have a strong military. Why would they want us to have a strong military? They don't want us to have a police force. Why would they want us to have a police force? Why wouldn't they be in the streets right now causing civil unrest? Why wouldn't they want American businesses to shut down? How easy is it for somebody nowadays in America? All it takes is one video, one event, one controversial issue, and you could shut down a nation for a month. That's how easy it is, guys. We're too easy to take advantage of, and we're going to talk about exactly why and how. So now that you know, for decades, they'll infiltrate both sides of politics, but they want people to be weak. They want people to be of the left mind. Why does the media, let's talk about the media, every corporation, you see it now, name me 5 corporations that don't support these protests and situations. Name me 5. I don't know, I can't find a single one. Maybe Home Depot or something people are mad at. 99% of US corporations are supporting this stuff, guys. Most media, besides half of Fox News, you look at the television, almost every corporation is left-wing. Almost every celebrity is left-wing. There's very few who aren't. So the point I'm getting to is why, outside of what you've heard, outside of racism, sexism, xenophobia, why are they so mad at conservatives? Why are they so mad at Christians? Why are they so mad at whites? Why do they always talk about white supremacy? Outside of everything you ever heard. We could talk about that a million times another time. What do Christians believe in and what do conservatives believe in that is not very popular on the left? Traditional families, guys. The man, the woman, the child. That's traditional conservative Christians raising your kids. What do they push? What do they push to the black community that now has about 60-70% of fathers out of wedlock having kids where the father's not present, or some relationship where you have, no partner, or trans, binary, whatever they're pushing. God bless everybody, but you get what I'm saying? They're not about traditional values. What happens when you have a man and a woman and a traditional lifestyle? The man works and the woman raises the kid. Who hates that more than anybody? Liberals and the media. Who likes that more than anybody? Christians and conservatives. So if you're able to separate the man from the woman, then you have a woman by herself to raise the kids, or a man by himself to raise the kids, or a woman who has to go to work and can't raise her kids because now they're saying raising your kids traditionally is some sort of hateful thing. So once you separate the man from the woman is weaker because that's just reality. You look at sports, NBA dominates the WNBA because men are physically stronger. It's just true. You destroy the family. You make it so there is no core family value. When you have that, where do the kids go? Does the mom raise the kids? Do they homeschool? Do they have a lot of time? No, they don't have a lot of time because they have to work. And then they send their kids off to school, AKA, at this point, liberal indoctrination camps, guys. It's just brainwashing the kids. They've taken faith out of the schools. They've taken common sense and traditional values out of the schools. And every year they get more and more political and more insane. So now you don't have parents raising their kids traditionally. You send them off to school, and then they watch media. What do they watch? Television. Who controls the television? 5 or 6 corporations. How do they feel? Mostly liberal. What ethnicity are a lot of the CEOs? Don't say it because they'll say it's hate speech. So music, television, movies, mass media. They fill their kids' minds with this type of stuff. I know because it happened to me. I grew up on Linkin Park and Eminem, and I was raging and, I was upset. And, as I got older, I started to see through a lot of the stuff. They're good bands, but you get what I'm saying. So it's not random. They don't hate people because of why you think. They're trying to destabilize this country. They don't want strength. They don't want a border. They don't want strong security. They don't want people to get along. They want divide and conquer. And what easier way than taking the man out of the family and leaving the kids to get raised by the education system and by mass media. And that's exactly what's happening in a lot of inner cities, guys. You go back to 1980, there wasn't this type of mentality or ideology because people weren't pushing it. Once you hit the 90s and they flipped rap music from being about dance and positive vibes to being about, like more gangster stuff, then all of a sudden this is what people think, who they think they are. If you're that type of person in the community, you're rewarded no matter what you do. You could be wrong, degenerate, get arrested. Everyone will support you. God forbid you stand up for yourself and actually try to, contribute to society in a different way, like a Candace Owens, a Ben Carson, even a Kanye West half the time. They hate you, guys. It's not because they hate anything else besides destabilization. You're getting in the way of them destabilizing the black community. And now it's coming to the white community and the Hispanic community in America and everybody. Because that's what they're doing. Has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. Has nothing to do with hating conservatives and Christians. Has nothing to do with that. And demographically, why are they so mad at white America? You could say it's because of deep-seated stuff that's going on, but they vote mostly conservative. What do most conservatives do? They fight against this agenda. Most of them are sold out at this point, but they fight against the agenda of destabilization. They believe in a border wall. They believe in a military. They believe in the police. They believe in the family. So that's why they hate them. If white America was voting 80% destabilization, they wouldn't care, guys. They would flip to whatever demographic. So they act like they're doing it for some sort of reason other than, what they're really trying to do. And overall, America is very divided. You have the left and the right. Okay. You have black and white. You have people integrate, arguing within conservative circles, whatever. It's good to have discussions, but overall, if you look at America, we have a really great strength and a really big weakness. It's the same thing. Our strength is we're so diverse, we're so multiracial, we're so, open to everything. That's a huge strength. We have great food, great culture, great people. But also, it's our biggest weakness because now we're split into a million different groups. In Japan, it's 98% Japanese. They can have other people come in. You could be black, you could be white. They're not going to be racist towards you. However, they have a strong set of rules and beliefs, and that's why the city of Tokyo is clean. More people than LA, still much cleaner and much safer because they don't allow degeneracy. They don't allow filth. they don't allow crime. They don't look up to it like liberal media does. They look up to crime. They look up to degeneracy. They love you if you're a degenerate. They hate you if you're a model citizen, guys. And they're constantly trying to destroy anybody of any race who fights against that. And same thing with China. Obviously, they're communist and it's horrible, but they have somewhat control. And these problems that happen in America, it's not just in America. They'll lie to you and act like we're the worst place. In India, you have, a racial mindset conflict as well. You have the nationalist Hindus and the Muslims who are not getting along right now, and it's the same sort of dialectic. You have South Africa. You have multiple problems. One, you have the South Africans have a problem with other Africans coming there, but also with the white minority. There's very big racial tensions because of history and because of what's going on now. So it's not really safe there, depending where you live, if you're of that ethnicity. There's these type of problems going on everywhere, but they've brainwashed people to not talk about them and just say, well, I'm right because I'm on this side. Well, I'm right because I'm holding a sign and I'm blocking traffic, so I must be the right person. No, you're just a useful pawn for their agenda of destabilization. Why would any enemy of America not want businesses to get shut down? Why is every corporation that told you to stay home for 3 or 4 months while you couldn't work out, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you had no social life, they're destroying your immune system and your health by basically just shutting down society. And then all of a sudden, in one day, they tell you to go out in the streets by tens of thousands, and the same celebrities and the same corporations and the same television stations and the same politicians that told you that you couldn't leave the house because you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to kill your grandma. Now they tell you to go out in the street for weeks at a time and just to never stop, and that you're justified in doing it. Because it's the same agenda, guys, from the COVID-19 shutdown to what's going on here. It's an agenda of destabilization. They're destabilizing the country. They're destabilizing the economy. They've already destabilized the family. They've already destabilized, a lot of society by convincing so many people that it's mainstream and cool to believe that police are bad, ICE is bad, borders are bad, military is bad. Guys, this is a wet dream of all the people who hate us. If we're going to go invade Syria, or we're going to fight China, or we're going to fight Russia, or we're going to fight Iran, or whoever, do we want them to have a military? No. Do we want them to have police? No. Do we want them to be weak? Yes. Do we want them to have a border? No. This is the enemy's dream, guys, and it's internal now. All these media sources, and if you look at who these people are and what they really want and why they really hate Christians and conservatives, the closer to the truth you get, guys, the more they're going to call it hate speech. The more you figure out that there's an ethnic, a social, a religious, and, not only a power dynamic to this, all of the above, the closer you get to it, the more they're going to shut you down. The more they're going to make up a word, an ick or a ism, like anti-Semitic, racist, xenophobic, sexist. You're sexist if you fight against the Women's March. Is the Women's March for all women? No, it's for liberal women. Is it for conservative women? No. Why? Because they want to destabilize the woman. They want the woman to be weak. They want the woman to be without a man. They want the women to hate their fathers, because if you don't have your father figure in your life, and you don't have a husband or a boyfriend in your life, and all the guys that you talk with are weak and pathetic, you're an easy target, guys, for everything. So the Women's March has nothing to do with the best interest of women. It's destabilizing the woman. So if you fight against their agenda of destabilization via the Women's March, they'll call you a sexist. If you fight against their agenda of destabilization with the Black Lives Matter protest, they'll call you a racist. If you ask the media executives who happen to be at the highest levels, most of them are Jewish, as they complain about white supremacy, if you ask them to have the same standards of treatment that they treat you and your ethnicity, for them, they'll call you anti-Semitic. So every step of the way, any way that you fight against any agenda of destabilization, they have a word to tell you. And it's the same with anything Muslim. God forbid you talk about it at all, they're going to say you're xenophobic or anti-Islamic. The irony there is a lot of Muslims are conservative, so you find out in the UK, it's actually Muslims who are fighting against the agenda of destabilization. Say what you want about Islamic countries, but they don't play liberal nonsense. They just don't. So in Saudi Arabia and in Iran, they have a zero tolerance policy for this stuff. I don't agree with it religiously. However, when they come to Europe, the conservatives complain because the cultures are very different. However, they do stand up to the liberal destabilization agenda pretty strongly. They do not play with that stuff. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Overall, You know, this is the divide and conquer in this country, and they're never going to stop. And they have so much ammunition. And if you really get to the core of what they're doing and why they're doing it, it's very not random, has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, has nothing to do with the women's movement, has nothing to do with the Mueller report, has nothing to do with the Ukraine impeachment, has nothing to do with anything they say it has to do, and they're going to have a crafty way to shut you down no matter what. So here's what people have to do, and I'm saying this to conservatives. So many conservatives fall for it. They want brownie points from the liberals. You know, they want to act like they really care. Yep. I extended for an hour, okay? All right. So they want brownie points for the from the other side. And then every week they say, I'm going to talk about this now for 2 weeks. Guys, it's all a trap. I forgot where I were. They interrupted. But we'll listen to my man Yuri real quick for a little bit, and then I'll answer some questions. Let's see what else he has to say. Interesting guy.
Most of the Indians who were cooperating with the Soviets, especially with our Department of Information of the USSR Embassy, were listed for execution. And when I discovered that fact, of course I was sick. I was mentally and physically sick. I thought that I'm going to explode one day during the briefing at the ambassador's office. I would stand up and say something that we are basically a bunch of murderers. That's what we are. It has nothing to do with friendship and understanding between the nation and blah, blah, blah. We are murderers. We behave as a bunch of thugs in a country which is hospitable to us, a country which with ancient traditions. But I did not defect. I tried to get the message across. To my horror, nobody wanted even to listen, least of all to believe what I had to say. And I tried all kinds of tricks. I would leak information through letters or lost documents or something like that. And still I got no message. The message was not published, even in the conservative mass media of India. The immediate impulse to defect was Bangladesh crisis, which was described by American correspondents as Islamic grassroots revolution, which is and they have close contacts with radicals. Some of them were.
Let's see. All right, I'll read a few comments and then I'm gonna take off. Someone said people are too lazy to get the facts. Some are, some aren't, but it's also a herd mentality. You get what I'm saying? And this is what I was saying before they knocked. Conservatives are giving up too much ground, guys. Even with a conservative Senate, conservative president, whatever, everybody wants to play this game of like, you know, and then I see a lot of black conservatives, which is good that they're debating, but I see like the Candace Owens, she comes out and says some real stuff. And then you have these other people who want to just be like, no, I disagree, which is fine. But they're like, you know, I know that she doesn't care about us, but it's like, it's always this little circus. They create a circus, they have an event, and then it's a circus for a month. We're not getting to the core of anything relevant. We're not getting to it. It's a trap. They got left from right, they got black from white, and then they subsect you into these categories, and then everybody plays this game of, no, it's like, it's the same story on loop. That's why even the right, they lose. They're getting their culture stripped, they're getting their strength stripped. That's why I stood up and said about the Buffalo police officer. I tried to tell people, listen, like half of conservatives that I follow were like, Anomaly, I disagree with you, Anomaly, and that's fine, you could disagree with me, but you have to understand, first of all, how easy is it for anybody to just take a video of an event, make it happen, force it to happen? They're never going to stop doing this, guys. You have hundreds of thousands of people in the streets, if not millions. You have thousands upon thousands of people looking for trouble, looking to be the next Cole Sprouse or Jake Paul who gets arrested, Mr. Famous, because they're looting or they're not listening to the police. They want something to happen, guys. They're looking for it every day. It's literally statistically impossible for something bad not to happen when you have tens of thousands of people in the streets wanting something to happen for Instagram. And then when it does happen, they say, oh my God, they shouldn't have touched that guy. They gave him 10 minutes to leave. They told him to leave. They said they're coming, and he walked towards riot police. Guys, I'm 30 years old. I know if I go to the protest, the peaceful protest, especially last week, I know there's a chance that I'm going to get injured or hurt. So guess what? Two options. Either I go and take the risk or I don't. I had many friends who went for video footage and they crushed it. Me personally, I don't need any more attention right now or press. I'm good. I'm staying out of the way. That's what I did. If I'm a 30-year-old and I know going to the protest might get me hurt, why doesn't a 75-year-old know? If you don't want to get hurt, stay home. He went to the protest. He stood where they told him not to stand. They gave him a warning, and he still walked towards riot police. Guys, he wants to get hit. And conservatives play this game. Look, oh, I could call out police brutality too because I'm a good conservative. Guys, you're playing their game. They're never going to stop because it's statistically impossible to stop. If you look at deaths in the country, there's 2 to 3 million a year. Deaths, all deaths. All it takes is 1, 5, 7, 10, 100, 1,000, and you can make any story you want. They're never going to stop. And when it comes to, I'm sorry, obviously murder is a problem in this country, but when it comes to police brutality, if you look at the numbers of unarmed black people getting killed by police, it's equivalent to how many people are getting hit and killed by icicles. So the black conservatives that want to act like this is some sort of, pressing problem to the community, it's really just not, and they're just using you to destabilize. Even if you're conservative and you understand, what the liberals are doing, you're still kind of falling for the trap. This whole discussion, this whole conversation, it's to destabilize the police, to destabilize the military, to destabilize the country, and to keep moving right-wingers further and further left. And that's why I call out right-wingers sometimes too. I don't know if they're plants or not, or they're just influenced by money, or, like he said, I don't know, just not very honest or something. But the mainstream right is kind of like always on the defense, always on the decline. It's like, at what point do you just say, listen, I'm going to speak the raw truth, and I don't really care what you guys say. It's like they're not ever going to like you. They're not ever going to give you brownie points. And pushing this message of anytime somebody gets the result they were looking for, just because he's old or just because he's a certain race or ethnic, it's so old. This story gets so old. Don't walk towards riot police if you're in your 70s and you don't want to get hit. Why is that even controversial? It's so pathetic, but whatever. All right, let's read a few comments and I got to roll out. So, all right, I'm going to read this comment. Someone said, you must not defend the police like that. Guys, I'm not defending the police. I am just being honest about a situation that happened. If I'm 30 years old and I know going to the protest might get me hurt, that's a decision I make, and many people have made it. If I'm 30 and I'm at the protest and I'm not getting hurt and I see the riot police and they say, leave this area and start marching. Guys, I wouldn't go anywhere near riot police in general. I wouldn't want to be within 20 feet of them. Do you know why? Because I'm not a moron, guys. I have common sense. I have self-responsibility. Even if I think the riot police are on my side, why would I want to be near a police officer with a shield and a gun? I don't want to be within 100 feet of these people. I'm afraid they're going to hit me by mistake or something, going for someone else. That's why I don't show up to these places. Why would you ever walk right in the face of a riot police? Why would you ever walk right into riot police who are walking towards you after they just told you were coming? Are we that pathetic of a society that 50% of the Republican Party is like, oh man, the police should never touch an old man like that? Why is he there? Why is he walking towards them? Why doesn't he listen? He knows what he's doing. He got the result he wanted, and they barely touched him and he flew. If you're that weak, stay home. Guys, I'm 6'3", almost 200 pounds. I'm pretty strong. I'm not the strongest person, but I'm not weak. I wouldn't even do that. Why? Because I'm not an idiot. Why are we rewarding morons? Why are we rewarding the lowest common denominator of society to drag everybody else down? This is what Candace Owens said, and she got a lot of flack even from conservatives. She's right. This is what they do. If you have, if you're a great person, they hate you. If you're lowest common denominator, you get put up on a pedestal. Why? We're rewarding and incentivizing that situation. So now other stupid old white guys are now looking, oh, all I have to do is go to a protest, do something dumb, walk into a riot police, and everybody will reward me. I'll have iced tea and, the whole world saying I'm an innocent victim. Guys, you're giving the dumbest, most pathetic people in society a reason to keep being dumb and pathetic. Why would, come on, guys. It's so simple. It's so common. I'm against police who do horrible things, but if you look at all the situations, Tucker Carlson went through them, all the unarmed deaths, just because they're unarmed doesn't mean they're listening or not attacking cops. Like half of them were that. There were some innocent people who got shot, and those people got charged. But otherwise, you know, and same with this situation. The cop seemed like a psycho. You know, he deserves to get charged and put on trial. However, am I going to act like the catastrophic crisis facing our country is no common sense. And you have the entire liberal and democratic side making excuses for the most fake people, and then you have half the Republican Party always looking for brownie points. Well, they shouldn't treat an old man like that. What's an old man doing walking towards riot police? Come on, guys. It's so simple. So I said the same thing. If the police are moving, you move. Guys, it's so simple. And I'm not a big cop fanatic. When I'm driving, I don't want to get pulled over. I don't want to see the police. I've been lied about by the police multiple times. I've gotten tickets for things I didn't even do. I fought them in court. You know, I'm not a big, like, #1 police fanatic. It's just like, if there's an event where people are burning stuff and throwing stuff and agitating, I don't want to go there. If I go there, I'm either going to take the risk or stay out of the way. If I take the risk and I go there and I'm in the way, I'm not going to stand where cops are walking. They probably told everybody, leave the area. And he just walks right towards moving riot police. And I'm even going to extend it, guys. Even some of the people who got the crap beaten out of them, it's hard to watch those videos on Twitter, but you see the videos of like random white people just getting beat up. Obviously, it's wrong what happened. I don't want to see people getting beaten up. But like a lot of them just stood there. They just stood and watched some dude run at you. If someone's running at me, either I'm going to hit them or I'm going to run away. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's self-accountability too. It's, you know, like people are just like watching people, like, I don't know. Maybe they're scared or something. I would run immediately, you know, or fight. It's like, you're just going to let someone beat you up? I don't know. It's, I can't. Whatever. Someone said old people use themselves because they think no one will hurt them. Well, also he was, he was on the side of the liberal protesters, so he probably thought, I have white privilege. I can walk towards the police and they won't hurt me because I'm white. And he found out what happens. They don't most of the time discriminate. They just do their job, and if you're in the way, they don't care, you know? And there's an old Chris Rock skit about this, guys. 99% of these situations could be stopped if people just had basic self-accountability. But this is why I can't stand the conservatives who bend the knee to it. You're teaching people that it's okay to be wrong. You're teaching people that it's okay to be weak and not to listen and to do things that are going to get them killed. When it's not on camera, if you do that same thing towards riot police in this country or another country, you're risking getting your life killed. And that's what I can't stand about the left. They try to tell the black and white youth that it's okay to do all this stuff, which is going to get you dead or in jail, which is probably exactly where they want you. So it's nice to tell the kids not to do this, okay? You listen to what these rappers are telling you to do, you're going to end up dead or in jail, and most of the rappers don't even do it. They don't gangbang anymore, most of them, and a lot of them don't even drink alcohol and do pills, but they rap about pills and alcohol. So if you do pills and drink alcohol, you might kill yourself. They're not doing it. They're profiting off you killing yourself. So there's nothing mean about this angle. It's not like I'm a bad guy. I'm trying to help people. Don't walk towards riot police, okay? That's very simple. If people had common sense and basic self-accountability, 99% of these things would never happen. But you have millions of people in the streets, tens of thousands of them are looking for problems. They're looking for their viral moment, and they'll have the entire left wing and half of the right wing support them no matter what dumb stuff they do. It's like jumping, yeah. And I say this, it's like jumping into a moving car, but also with certain things, I compare it to walking against a crosswalk. I don't know about you guys, but when I walk in a crosswalk, I have the right of way. I have the green hand or whatever it is, you know? That doesn't mean someone can't kill me driving. I've almost got killed twice in Koreatown. You know, they almost hit me because they were trying to take a left turn when I was walking. Thank God I was paying attention. Did I have the right of way? Yeah, absolutely. Would he have gone to jail for killing me? Probably. But do I want to die? No. So I pay attention when I walk across the street. even when I have the green light and they have the red light, or the green light and they don't understand that they have to use caution. That's simple survival methods, guys. I would have been killed twice in the last 3 years if I didn't pay attention. You get what I'm saying? I even helped my Uber driver not kill us. He almost went through a red light. I screamed stop because I was paying attention. He said, oh my God, I didn't even see that. I would have been dead 3 times, but I pay attention in life. You don't have to, but if you walk across the street, even with the right of way, that doesn't mean everyone's listening. And that goes for everything. It's like, do you want to die or do you want to survive? I don't know. Oh, I just want to walk into things all the time and just blame everyone else. Why? You know, like, and then you're going to have people defending those people. I don't know.